Hi, everyone. We've got a lot of registrants for this webinar, so we're going to give everybody just a few short minutes to hop on in. So please hang tight, and we'll be back with you shortly. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar, Eric Weber's Day Off Part 2, How to Lay the Best Foundation for Your MSP Marketing Program. I'm the Director of Marketing here, Katie Rogers, and I'm with Eric Weber, our Director of Sales for the MSP Advantage Program. At the conclusion of this webinar, yes?
Oh, just introducing myself.
Oh,
And hi.
at the conclusion of this webinar, we're going to send the live recording to you within 24 hours. So for those of you who have colleagues who weren't able to come in today, you can share it with them when we send out the email to you tomorrow. So without further ado, I'm going to hand this over to Eric. Eric, let's get started, man.
Awesome. Thank you, Katie, and thank you, everybody, for joining us here today. I do apologize that I had to move this back a week. Had a death in the family and had to travel for a funeral. So I appreciate you rescheduling and taking time out of your days. So just to kind of go over, again, for those that weren't on the last one, a little bit about my matrix. I've been in the business since 1998, doing sales and marketing enablement. We have one side of the business that focuses on channel management, partner portal management, and enterprise level sales. And then there is the SMB part, which I oversee here to work with managed service providers and independent software advisors and such. So most of the clients that I work with, for those that were not on the last webinar, this is where everybody generally fits into. You know, either very small businesses where it's either the owner, maybe a tech or a one-man shop, you know, another small business where it's the owner, maybe a salesperson, maybe an admin, you know, a few technicians, and then the medium to large SMB, where you have some salespeople, you have some techs, maybe you have a marketing person as well too, but you have some people to kind of round out the hats. But for the most part, they're mostly technology people, not sales and marketing folks. Most of these clients have grown through word of mouth and referral. And because it's a small business, oftentimes people wear multiple hats. Now, those hats are all full-time jobs, yet there's only one of you and so much time in the day. So typically, if sales and marketing is not your core function, and if you have a lot on your plate, something's not getting done, or at least done to the level where you need it to be. So for the first part in our webinar series, we focused on business development. And I'll just do a real quick recap of what we talked about the last time. We want to make sure that we have multiple lead sources. Just like investing, you want to diversify so you reduce your risk, whether it be webinars, networking, going to events. Also, if you get business cards, you want to make sure that you connect with those people on LinkedIn as well. But more importantly, keep it regular. Doesn't have to be every month, but consistency does count. And you also want to be able to manage your assets so that you're getting the right pieces to the right people. And as always, automate what you can. Within a small business where time is the ultimate enemy, you have to leverage that time. This way you can have multiple irons in the fire. While automating some of it, you work with the more important pieces manually. So, on to our webinar today here. Marketing and infrastructure. We want to focus on the mid piece here. And today we're just going to talk about top of the funnel pieces here. So, this is going to be the part where your business development and lead generation efforts are going to flow into so that we can help build that brand and show people how you provide value to them on a high level. We want to get the word out. We want to let people know you're there, what you do, how you're relevant to them in a non-salesy and more informational and educational manner. Now, there are parts of business development that overlap with marketing, as business development is a part of marketing, falls under that umbrella. But I want to focus on the left side of the slide here first, because we got to get a few different particulars and basics out of the way. First off, what is your brand? And I would write that down as well too. What is our brand? Think of it like a football team almost. Obviously being here in Pittsburgh, I am a Steelers fan. Some years ago, our brand was defense and power running game. Obviously that has changed, but maybe your brand is more focusing on security. Or if you work with a lot of dentists, security for dentists, or service oriented. But knowing that brand that you want to promote is the first key thing, because everything's going to trickle down from there. Secondly, what are the differentiators? What makes you different from your competition? Who is your competition, and how much of it is in your respective territory? What are their brands? What are they doing different from one another? This way you can figure out what separates you from them. And then lastly, and probably one of the most important pieces here, hey, what can I spend on this? What is my budget? Well, there's lots of different ways to calculate a marketing budget, but simple and short answer, anywhere from 6 to 10% of revenue. So if you're generating $1 million a year in sales, that's $60,000 per year. And always though, you want to start with what you can afford and then build from there as you go. So when we determine what our brand is and what makes us different and what we're working with as far as a war chest, now we can start to dig in to some of the pieces of marketing on that triangle there. So, as always, content and consistency. Now, there are some pieces that can run by themselves. We want to make sure that we have a good search engine optimization so that we can drive traffic to our website where we talk about our brand, how we provide value, what makes us special and different, and how we can help. But what we want to automate here are some things like social media for basic brand awareness, email marketing automation drips. These are items that can operate in the background without you having to jump in and click something. So while you're off either at a client site or at an event doing business development, working or training your current clients, You want this to be running in the background so that you can leverage your time and be in more than one place at once. That middle section there, it's still a little bit automated, but not as consistent. So you can certainly engage in activities such as pay-per-click, Google AdWords, retargeting, even outbound calling campaigns. Again, they're not going to require you to have to jump in and physically press a button to send something every time, but they kind of happen when things fall their way. Meaning if somebody's on a website and they click something, then they see a retargeting ad, maybe they click on it and they follow back to your website. This kind of happens as people are searching for you. And then the top piece there, this is all manual efforts. And we want to use these top pieces here to really leverage the bottom two parts of the triangle there. Whether it be hosting a lunch and learn, or doing a webinar like we are today, going to a trade show and setting up a booth, or even hosting an event. We've had some clients that have done movie events. I think we had a client when the Avengers Endgame was coming out earlier in the year. They rented out the theater. They were able to get in the night before the movie kicked off. Talked a little bit about what they do and how they helped before, watched the movie, talked a little bit afterwards, and then set appointments and demos on an as-needed basis from that event. But hosting something like that, even a lunch and learn, a webinar, or going to a show, this is where we can take all that activity and throw it into the bottom part of the triangle so that we can then stay in front of them on a regular basis with relevant information that shows how we provide value to them. Now, once we have on the previous slide here, we have everything written down. We know what our brand is, what our differentiators are, how much of a war chest we have, and how we're going to break it up amongst that triangle. It's time to educate our prospects and our clients with content on a regular basis, showing how you can help them. Now, prospects, they can be nurtured through marketing email drip automation, social media automation. And when it comes to social media, personally, I feel that social selling, I know that's a big hot buzzword out there, but I think social selling works great more for business to consumer, not business to business. I see ads on Facebook all the time, for whether it be a pair of boots or whatever it might be, and it takes me to their website, and services on Twitter. But for more business to business, I like to be informed. It's a great way to get in front of calls, how you can help provide, and also to show what's going on within the industry as well too. When I scroll through a LinkedIn feed, I don't want to be sold something. I want to be informed. I want people to show me that they know that they get it. Now, also too, we don't want to bug our clients that much, so we still want to show on a continual basis how we provide value to them through education, so that when they're writing that check every month, they want to feel good about the service that they're receiving and also see value within it as well. Those can be done with working through the clients through newsletters, educational blogs on your website, day zero events as life in the tech world unfolds, and keep more of the prospects and potential buyers on the social feeds and also the email marketing automation drips. So we've talked about brand awareness, differentiators, our budget, some ideas on how to get the word out there, making a combination of the pieces within this triangle. What does some of that infrastructure look like? Well, it's very important to keep things organized. So I took a screenshot here from my system here. And I like to keep my contacts in a bunch of different lists so I know where they came from. Whether it was from an event that I had done, a webinar, if they've downloaded a particular case study from our website, or if they just filled out the good old, hey, contact us for a demo. but also if they've watched videos, if they've unsubscribed from anything, or the data is no longer good through a hard bounce. I want to be able to show the whole how they're divvied up. That way, I can stay in front of them through campaigns. This is what a typical basic drip campaign could look like. It is very simple, just like a raindrop, drip, drip, drip. Want to have multiple templates strung together so that they can go out on an automated basis. And on the back end, track all the activity. This way you know at the end of the day, who should we be trying to get in touch with more, and who can we let sit for a while. So a key takeaway, the basic takeaways from the brand awareness, the differentiators, the spend, the multiple layers of marketing, and how we would deploy that, is at first, we got to see what we're working with. Determine your spend. Whether it be 6 to 10% of your revenue, or if you're working backwards on a cost per client to determine how many leads you might need and how that conversion rate works. But also too, we want to know, hey, what is that value prop that's going to get us out there? Why are we different? What makes us special? Automate what we can, control manually the more important items. And as always, your foundation is going to begin and end with regular research and analysis to tweak the formula, increase awareness, and just stay out there regularly with valuable content on a consistent basis. The waters can get murky sometimes within marketing. If you Google how to market yourself, you can get 20 answers from 20 different people from 20 different websites. At the end of the day, I'm always a fan of keeping it simple. Always fall back to that if need be. Content, consistency. So I'll take a couple questions now here. Katie, if any have come in so far.
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining with us today. If you have time, stay on the line because I have a couple good ones here. So, Eric, when you were talking about utilizing content material and not wanting to kind of make your current clients unhappy. Somebody asked if you could use the same material for prospects and current clients, because generally it's hard to come up with content for both.
Sure. Good answer. So short answer, yes. You can certainly use the same content for them both, but with a few small tweaks. Maybe it might just be changing a few words around. If it's an article about some of the key features of how backup and disaster recovery can help, yeah, of course. Now if you're trying to sell the product, you want to get the sales, words out of that there, but education is education. And some of those pieces can be copied and maybe put into the form of a newsletter. For example, if you have a drip email that has a few bullet points about backup and disaster recovery within that, maybe take a few of those pieces out and save them for your monthly newsletter. So when that goes out to your clients, they know what's going on with the firm, but they also have their monthly, tech tips and tricks and so forth. So you can use that same content, but maybe in a different medium sometimes. They say it always costs more to bring on a new client rather than keep a current one. So with all of the above in the marketing plan, you want to provide a great client experience, but also consistently provide that value. This way your retention can remain high. So as you're deploying your marketing efforts, you want to get that right kind of client onto your current roster there. That way, as time passes, you can phase out some of the clients that aren't so good. So at the end of the day, you have a healthy and strong roster of the type of people that you want.
I would agree with you on that, Eric. Another question is, if you don't and will not have a marketing budget, what is the best or where is the best place to start?
I'm going to defer to you on that one. Get a little more experience.
Well, thank you. So for everybody out there that doesn't know me, I've kind of been more of a branding expert, and I've gone through 3 rebranding projects so far with 3 employers. And for me, what happens when that rebranding happens is you pretty much don't have a budget left over. So the best place to start without a budget is to focus on those market differentiators, because all of that is research and feedback from your current clients and referral clients, as well as your competitors, and see what differentiates you within the features of what you're selling, as well as within the culture of your organization, and create content that is specific to each of those features. That way, when you distribute that content, you can track and analyze which piece is working the best and figure out which feature then defines you a little bit more. And from there, I would take that one feature, like say for us, that is sales enablement. I would plug that in and start looking and seeing who the competitors are that are in that space, and also what types of events that I could go to, or lunch and learns, or maybe even hosting some webinars or hosting with another, non-competitor that operates in that featured space. And that would be what I would direct any money that I have without a budget towards.
And I just want to add on to that, Katie, as well, too.
Mm-hmm.
Start small. Start with what you're comfortable with. Try something out, even if it's just sending a basic email to a bunch of people from your Outlook. See what kind of results, see if you get any traction with it. Yeah, start small, grow. This is something that always has a consistent tweaking to the formula, especially as technology and time changes. It's always something that's more fluid.
Yeah. Yeah, you always kind of come back, on the turn in the sense of market differentiators and what people like, when you're tracking your content. It's a continuous process. You always have to reevaluate where you're at and where you're going. But the good part about that is some of that doesn't cost you anything. So just some of your time.
Time is money. So
yes.
Any others, Katie?
No, I believe that's it for today. Well,
Okay.
I want to thank everybody personally for coming on. We do apologize for having to push this to a later date, but we hope you enjoyed the content and that you hang in there for part 3. What is part 3 going to be on, Eric?
So part 3 is going to be more on sales, infrastructure, and outreach. The final part, the bottom of the funnel. We've talked about how do we fill that funnel first with business development. Once we have some pieces within the funnel, how do we deploy that through marketing and getting the right content out to the potential leads that we've developed. And then this third part is going to be, how do we get them in the door? How do they become clients? How do we follow up with them? Really want to close it all out there. So some of the things we do with that, we're within our MSP Advantage program. We really want to tie it all together in one spot, keep it easy. Planning, content, marketing and sales infrastructure, help and guidance, all rolled within one. So if anybody wants to talk later, more one-on-one, I'm happy to meet with you, walk you through, show you what it does. But as Katie said, I really want to thank all you guys for pushing everything back a week here. And we look forward to having you for the 3rd and final installment of this webinar series. Thank you, everybody, and have a wonderful day.
Thanks, you too. Take care, everyone.